Organizing raid responses. We've already talked about how important it is to shine the national spotlight on individuals that are being raided by the federal government or by local government. This section is going to give you step-by-step instructions on how you can develop a raid response campaign in your community.
In order to prepare in advance, you have to make a plan to decide what it is you're going to do when there's a law enforcement raid in your community. We encourage people to go out to the location of the raid and picket there in front of the location so that you can support the victims, frame the issue for the media, and also show the police officers that we oppose what's happening at that point in the community. That advanced preparation then may lead you to a next step, maybe to develop some signs, some posters, some banners or visual aids that will help dramatize the issue and communicate your message on the day of the raid. Having that prepared in advance is crucial because you never know when there may be a law enforcement situation in your community. And then of course you want to assign tasks in advance. If someone's going to be responsible for posters, or for bringing bottled water for the protesters, or for calling the media, or activating the phone tree, they need to know in advance and be ready to take action as soon as they get the word that a law enforcement interaction is taking place. On the day of a law enforcement raid in your community, it's time to spring into action. So you're going to activate the plan that you've already made. You're going to make the phone calls on the phone tree. Let the lawyers, the loved ones, the community members know that something's happening. And then let them know that they have to contact others as well. It's also very important on the day of a raid that you contact ACE's headquarters in Oakland right away so that our team can start working on media and legal help for the victims of that raid. You can reach our office toll-free at 888-929-4367. Then it's time to put your plan into action by showing up at the scene of the raid to support the victims. Because you'll have your signs made and your roles delegated already, you'll be able to show up and start the raid right away. Be careful not to actually interfere in the physical activity of the police department unless it's your intention to be arrested as part of an act of civil disobedience. There may be a law enforcement perimeter, a yellow tape, or an area past which you can't go. So be respectful of that so that you don't wind up in trouble. It is okay, however, to talk to police officers and try to gain information. Make notes of important details, things like badge numbers, which agencies are represented, the DEA, the FBI, the local police department, or the sheriff, and also how many people are in custody. If you can find out what the charges are, that's very helpful as well. All of this information will be used later in the legal defense and in getting those people out of jail. At an emergency response protest, there may be media, and if so, you need to make sure that they hear from the people they need to hear from, because the police department will be telling its own side of the story. If there are patients, members of a dispensary being raided, or other spokespeople on hand, it's very important to get them in front of a camera and make sure that their soundbite gets on the evening news. And make sure that you make note of which news media outlets are represented and what reporters, so that you can follow up with them after the fact or for future events. If there is no media present at an emergency response protest, use your existing media list or just start dialing through the directory services to get some media out there and document what's going on. After an emergency response protest, it's very important that you follow up with the headquarters in Oakland to let Americans for Safe Access know what happened and talk with us about what the next steps might be. It's also important to talk with the victims of the raid and the community members in your city or county about what you want to do next to see to it that something like that does not happen again.